Hi there, we are going to continue on our series of 101 junk journals, and today we're going to be talking about adhesives. I'm going to show you everything that I have, those things that I use and don't use. We're going to also do a test and come back at the end, and I'm going to let it go for 24 hours, and then we'll come back and test it to make sure that which ones have stuck. If there are any that I did not show but that you like, make sure you list them down in the comments down below, and maybe I'll check them out. Also, I will have all the products, if I can find them, linked in my Amazon storefront. And to find that, you can either on Instagram go to my bio and it's in my link tree, or if you look under this video, right underneath the video, you click on show more and I'll have a link there for it for you. So we are going to start with a glue stick. That's something that most people have, especially if you have children. You probably buy these in bulk at the beginning of the school year. So that's my first tip, is if you like using glue sticks, then that is a good time to buy them. Another thing I'm going to tell you guys right off the bat as I'm looking for it on my desk is one of the main tips for gluing is actually burnishing. And what that means is when you're taking the paper, and actually I'll show you. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to take a piece of cardstock, and then I'm just going to take this paper. It's probably like a copy paper weight, so it's a thinner weight. So that's what we're going to do the experiment on. Okay, so we'll start with this one. So I'll show you what I mean by burnishing. These are good because they are disappearing purple. I have used the Uhu brand. I've used a lot of different brands. The main thing I would say is what's most important about glue is that you get as close to the edges as possible, which I did not do there. And what's nice about this glue stick is that you can see the purple, and so that's going to help you to know where your glue is. I have this bone folder here. So this is what burnishing means. It's when you are kind of taking out the air bubbles and you're squishing the papers together. That's a technical term, by the way. When you're putting the papers together so that the adhesion has a chance to go on both sides. That is very important. And from my experience, I have found that that is almost more important than the glue itself. So I'm going to go ahead and write glue stick so that later we know what that is. Okay, so our next one that we're going to talk about, and I'm going to try to go from price, from like cheapest to most expensive. So the next one we're going to do is I have this Jot brand, which this is Dollar Tree's white glue, and it's just a washable like kids school glue. And so I'm going to take this, and I'm going to tell you right off the bat, when you're using a wet glue, the main difference, and most of you are going to be able to agree with me. Actually, I'm going to cut this in two. And the main difference is that your paper has a tendency to buckle with this type of glue. So we're doing a little experiment here. I'm going to put it down normal here. And then I'm going to take it and hang on, the dogs just came in my room. Okay, they're gone now. So I'm going to take the paper and I'm going to just use a paintbrush. I like using a synthetic brush, which means fake. And so, because it's smoother. And we're gonna test this to see if it buckles any less or any more than just putting it down. The other thing that I like to do when I'm using a glue is not use the nozzle open all the way. Like this. So this was jot with nozzle, and then jot with brush. And I can already see a difference between those two. I don't know if it's picking up on camera. And I'm just using this scrap paper that I had on my desk because I wasn't prepared enough to have regular scrap paper, but that way it's catching all my excess glue. Okay, so so far we have our glue stick, we have the white glue. And what I meant by opening the nozzle, so you can open it like all the way, or you can open it partially and it'll let less glue out. And so I like doing that. This next glue, I believe that you can order it online. I bought mine at Daiso, but I believe you can order it from Amazon. And again, that'll be listed. I don't know that this will be on Amazon. It'll be, you know, you can pick it up at Dollar Tree. But I like this one. It comes with this like, it's like a plastic nib. And so it kind of, you can kind of paint on your paper with this. I'm just going to use my finger to get to the edges and smooth it out a little bit. And I hope that that caught that, the air bubbles that were in there. And when I did this, it's going to smooth your paper out. So if you have a problem with using a wet glue and you feel like wet glue is always buckling with your paper and you're not having good results, then I would highly recommend that you try doing this. If you don't have a bone folder, that's okay. You can always just use like the edge of a brush if it's rounded, or your scissors. Okay, so that is going to be my basic glue pen. Okay. Oh, I guess this kind of fits in between these. This is also, you can find this Beacon brand, and it's the foam and poster board adhesive at Dollar Tree. I've gotten it before where it was extremely thick, and then I found this one that was more runny, and so we're gonna try this one out. So with all the wet glues, with the exception of the Fabri Tech, tend to get like a little crust on them and not allow you to get the product out. So I just used a pin to stick it in, and I think we're good to go. And the Beacon brand is actually the same brand as the Fabri Tech, but this is $1.25 at Dollar Tree. And it doesn't work the same as Fabri Tech because Fabri Tech is made using acetone, whereas this one, I don't believe it is, because it even says on the bottle that it's non-toxic, which brings me to another point, which is the toxicness levels. And this one, I feel like this one definitely, so far out of all of them, this one definitely gives me the most bubbles. So let's actually try a little strip of it up here, and I'm going to use that brush. Another tip, when you are using a brush with glue, you want to make sure that you rinse it off right away. So I put mine directly into water so that the glue doesn't dry your bristles together. Okay. And there is probably a little bit of water on this brush, so it's going to change the consistency just a little. That was already a lot better. But you can see it definitely has a tendency to bubble more. What you can do is, if you're working on a project, then what you can do is you can take out a little bit of the glue and put it in a small bowl. You guys will see me sometimes use these little ashtrays that I have. I don't know if I have one on my desk. I think I have some coffee in it right now, but I'll take something like this, just a small size, because you don't want to take out too much because you might not use it all. And you kind of need to work fast because you don't want this to dry out. But kind of how you would use a Mod Podge, that's how you would use that. Okay, so now we're gonna get into the more expensive brands. And so now that's the Beacon Foam with the nozzle. And then this is the Beacon, and I can tell you from writing on it that this is way better. So if you can use a brush to apply it, I think it's going to make a huge difference. You can see that my paper's already starting to buckle a little bit with the wet glue. So as you can see here that it's dipping like this, whereas this one was more flat. And so just keep that in mind. Okay, next we are going to go to this Scotch Quick Dry adhesive, which when I did paper crafting, I used this one quite a bit. I haven't used it in a while through the nozzle, so hopefully, okay, we're still good. This is very quick drying. Very, very quick drying, and it gives a really good hold. Okay. Oops. Try not to get so much on there. Okay, now I did not get to the edges on this, and I'll make a note of that. Just because I'm almost out of it. And you can definitely see when you use the nozzle, you can see the marks where the glue was. You can see it here as well. Whereas with these, you cannot. So this is the Scotch with nozzle. And you know what? Why don't we go ahead and try it out with the brush. Okay, so I don't have a ton in there, but I think I'll have enough to show you. And I think I'll just use a piece. Okay. Definitely, it makes a huge difference with the brush versus the nozzle. Even as I'm writing, it's a lot smoother. Okay, we are going to go to Fabri Tech. Now, Fabri Tech is great because it holds not just paper, but it's made for fabric, and they have different ones. They have Fabri Tech. Oh, All the ones that I find, I'll put them down below. But now where I'll tell you, so far, none of these are really stinky. This is very stinky. If you have a problem with like toxic smells, this is not going to be your friend. Also, if you like to wear regular nail polish, this is not your friend. It is, the base is acetone, and so it melts your polish right off. And those of you that have been watching me for a while know that I'm always struggling with that. This one also is very messy. It leaves, when you, right now my bottle's almost empty, and so you're probably not going to see it that much, but as you use it, it starts bubbling. It comes up through the nozzle, even if you only use a little bit. So I'll tell you, I'll show you what I mean. Okay, so it's just now coming to the top. So I'm gonna leave it here. You can already see it bubbling. And so that's really annoying because you lose a lot of product like that, but it does not buckle at all. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually use that. So see, look at all that waste. I'm gonna use that and just put just a little bit of glue right there, because we're gonna try something out. I'm gonna show you something, a product that I think you need to have, but look at all that. And so sometimes I'll like go in and scrape this off, but honestly then it just makes a mess and you get strings everywhere. This one's very messy and, like I said, very stinky. But it does a really good job holding your papers together, and you don't get a bunch of, your paper doesn't buckle, and so that's all really great. Okay, and then last but not least, we're going to use art glitter glue. So for this one, I just got it probably a month ago, and so I've had time to use it to give an honest opinion over it. A lot of people complain because you have to make sure that you put your pin in or it will dry, like you won't be able to use the nozzle. The pack that I bought that I'll have listed down below comes with 3. It's a 2 ounce and 8 ounce. It comes with the regular nozzle as well as this little like very fine tip nozzle. Most of you that have this probably already have this. So what's really nice about this is that you can save a lot of product. You can see how thin that goes on. And we're gonna stick that here. And that's really smooth. You do not get buckling with this one either. Also, you don't have the smell with this one. And so this is definitely a good buy in my book. So far, these are the glues that we have. And like I said, we're gonna let this dry. What I wanted to show you also were other options that are under the Adhesive branch but necessarily aren't glues. But first I wanted to start with this. It's called Jewelry Glaze, and it is like glossy accents. It leaves a shiny finish. So give me a second and I'll show you. I made this journal, and on top I have this butterfly, and you see how it's shiny? That's what this did. And so the way that you use it, it's going to be, let me grab a piece of ephemera that I have laying around. we'll go ahead and do another butterfly. And I'm going to use this. So this just comes out. You cut the tip here to use it. And I'm going to try to do it up here. I don't know how stable I'll be, but I'll show you how it comes out. It's kind of milky. And so the way that I usually approach it is I do a border around. So kind of like if you've ever worked with sugar cookies. And then I blend it in. Now, this is a really great product. It gives a lot of dimension without a lot of bulk. But the negative to this is you have to let it dry. And I would say overnight for sure. There's little bubbles. I don't know if you can see. And you can use like a little pin to pop them if you want. You can use the glue itself. And it does dry clear, as you guys saw it on the dry one, but it does look milky when you have it on. So I think this is a product that is really good to have, and I put it in the adhesive category, even though it's not really a glue, it is a semi-glue. Okay, while we're on the topic of semi-glues, we're going to talk about, this is one of my favorite products. It's the Tim Holtz Tiny Attacher. It's a stapler, but it has these tiny little staples in it. And I like to attach a lot of my stuff using the Tiny Attacher because I think that it adds just like that metal accent to a page. That's really cute. And so here, my whole cluster here, this, and this is all being held together with these two staples. And then I glued the whole thing down to the paper. So this is definitely one of the items that I would say is a must-have. And if you don't have the funds to get a stapler, this stapler, because it's a little more expensive, then what I would recommend that you get is a regular stapler. You can get just like one of these little cheap staplers. And I like using different color staples. I'll have this all listed down below for you so you don't have to go running looking everywhere. And there you go. And that is really cute. It gives it a fun element to the page while adding metal as well. And so I think that is a really good buy. I'm waiting for this to dry all the way to show you the next thing. So while we're doing that, what I would say the next step would be, I have actually two adhesives that are not wet. So we have this, it's called Sukwang, I think, and it is double-sided tape. This is the best stuff. There's other brands out there that are cheaper. This stuff, it holds like anything. So whenever I'm using like a cluster like that, where it's thicker, like where I showed you there that it was like multiple layers, and this is going to be a little bit heavier because this is cardstock, then I use usually a double-sided tape like this. So what it is, it's a tape. I just tore this off, and you can see that it's sticky on that side. I'm going to take it down, and the same thing applies with it. You want to burnish it. And sorry, it had this excess. Let me cut that off. Okay, and then to take it off. A lot of people like to use tweezers. I feel like it's not that big a deal. It just that part peels off. And now this is sticky. So we're gonna stick this little piece of paper on here. And I'm gonna take some of it off because it's not on the edge. And so this is going to be our double-sided tape. And this gives like an amazing hold. It is more expensive, so like I said, I use it more on projects that need a little extra. Okay, so now going towards tapes, something I love to use is masking tape. And masking tape isn't necessarily you're using it more for a decorative purpose than to really hold something on. If you need to use this to hold something in place, you want it to do both things, I would use one of these glues and add just extra glue on the bottom so that it reinforces it. Because even when you burnish it, the chances are that you might be able to peel it up. Then on those notes, the other thing that I like is washi tape. Washi tape has the same attributes as the masking tape, and even more so, it's made with, some of them are paper based. A lot of them you can just cut with your fingers. I'll put it here. Something that I like to do is take like a credit card or something and just hold it down, and then you can cut it like that. Some of my favorite washi tapes to use are actually the Tim Holtz fabric tapes, and these are a little different. So I'm going to show you the ones that I have. These are great because they go with all the Tim Holtz stuff, and they just go really well with any vintage. And these are the ones that I have currently. And I'm going to show you how they work. So these have, they're more like the double-sided tape where they have an adhesive on the back. Also, I try not to use regular scissors when I'm cutting anything with adhesive on it because it will gum up your scissors. I just cannot find my glue scissors right now. Now this one is a little bit more difficult because you're not sticking it down. You're actually, because this is not sticky, you are just trying to get it separated. I usually start at a corner, try to get my nail in there. There we go. And so you peel this off, and you can see that this side has the adhesive on it. And again, even for these, even though they have a better adhesive, I do like, usually if I'm using any type of tape, if I'm using it to hold something together, then I definitely add some extra glue at the end. Okay, and I think that's going to be it. And that goes with any tapes. I also have this tape that I love. It's like a mailing tape. I love the color of it. I think that it adds a lot of dimension, but on this one as well, I'll always add a little bit of extra glue to it if it's holding something in place. And then the thing that, and I'll have a bone folder listed for you guys as well. But another thing that I think is like a necessity to have if you work with any kind of adhesives, especially wet adhesives, is this little, it's like gum, I don't even know, it's like rubber. And all you do, so you can see here that I have adhesive there and there, okay? And so my camera is going to shake for a minute, so I apologize. And you can see all the little glue is right here. And I'm going to show you now. There's no glue. You can see a little bit of residue right there, but I can that off. So you're using it almost like an eraser. I'm going to do this one. And it doesn't ruin your paper at all. It doesn't scuff it up. It just holds the little glue thing here. And I think I've had this one for 20 years. And so,
make sure that you stick around so that you can see the results.
But anyways, I've had it for a very long time, and it's still like almost perfect. So anyways, that's it. I hope that you guys got a lot of information off of this video. And again, if there are any ways that you adhere paper that I did not mention, leave them down in the comments. I'd love to know, and I'll try maybe some of your suggestions out. Okay, I am back, and I cheated a little bit. It wasn't quite 24 hours, but I wanted to show you. So here where we used more of the wet glue, we did get some buckling on the paper, but it's not really that bad. If that bothers you, that's definitely, you know, something to keep in mind. So I'm going to try to take up the pieces of paper. And so this is the glue stick. So you can see, even though, okay, so here you can see this came off. So either I didn't have enough glue on it, or it just didn't adhere that well. This is the Dollar Tree with the nozzle. Same thing. So it looks like, I mean, you're getting a pretty good adhesion even with the Dollar Tree one, and it's only the edges that are coming up, and that could have been user error because I didn't get it all the way to the edge. Here is the Dollar Tree glue with the brush, so barely anything would come up. That's on pretty well. I'm gonna try this, the glue pen, and immediately it tore off the layer of the paper, but nothing, this is not, I don't know if you can tell, but it's not even like the thickness of the paper. So that one definitely stuck like really well. Here's the beacon. We'll start with this one with the, this was the Dollar Tree beacon one. Okay, so that came up, but it could have been because, remember, I was using the nozzle, so I maybe didn't get it all the way. So I'm thinking that where I got it to the edge, it's not coming up. So that peeled the paper again, not even from the cardstock. And now I'm gonna guess if that happened with that one, the foam brush, yeah, it's not even coming up. Oh no, I forgot what these were. Okay, this was Fabri Tech. I'm gonna write them down before I forget. Fabri Tech. I forgot if it's a C. And then this was glitter glue. Okay, so let's start with the Scotch with the nozzle. So again, it did pull up on the corners, but that could be because oh no, it's pulling up with this one's pulling up with the cardstock. So we'll see if it does the same thing here. It did a little, but then it started tearing just the paper. So I would say so far this is the least, even over all like the more expensive ones. Fabri Tech is just tearing the paper from the paper, like the layers of paper, not from the cardstock itself. You can see here it's like see-through. And I'm going to guess the same thing with the art glitter glue. Yeah, we're just tearing the paper. The original layer of paper is stuck there. So, and then the double-sided tape, this is like, yeah, it's not coming off. It's going to tear the cardstock right off. So, so there you go. I mean, I think you're good with all of them. The main thing that I would say is make sure that you're burnishing them down. And so if you're thinking, okay, well, I can't afford art glitter glue or Fabri Tech, then now you know these will work. Just make sure you give them ample time to dry and that you burnish them. And then also what's going to depend is how much buckling you have. To cut down on it, I would definitely use a brush to apply it, and I think that would solve a lot of those issues. It's still going to buckle a little bit, but it's going to give you a little bit better results. So I thank you for joining, and I'll see you soon. Bye.